Understanding the Oneness of Life, posted on January 26, 2012. There are two ways to perceive life. Number one, from a point of separation, and number two, from a point of oneness. When you perceive life from a point of separation, you can't help but suffer because it disconnects you from the inherent truth of life, which is oneness. When you perceive life from a point of oneness, there is no resistance in you, which obliterates 99.9% of your suffering. 0.1% is basically some unavoidable physical discomforts and allows you to be aligned with the movement of your life stream, causing a smooth flow of your natural expression. When you are perceiving life from a point of separation, no matter what you learn, no matter what you understand, no matter what you achieve, you always feel incomplete, insecure, and unfulfilled. This is simply because the idea of separation is not in sync with life, which inherently has no separation. It's just one space of energy. So basically, if you don't understand anything, but if you can just gain an understanding of the oneness of life, it's enough to bring your life into alignment. Once you see life from the perspective of oneness, it totally shifts the way you perceive reality. There arises an undeniable inner sense of all is well, irrespective of some human perspectives of the brain and mind. However, it takes a while for many people to really come to terms with what this word oneness implies, though it's really simple. Oneness is just a pointer to the simple fact that there is just one being, one space of energy, one source, one ultimate presence, which manifests as everything through various streams of intentions. If you just read these words with the brain, you may have confusions, or might even think this is some philosophy. But if you read these words from your being or heart, you just know this oneness as the inherent living truth of life. End of separation is the beginning of alignment. Anything that you separate yourself from becomes a source of suffering. For example, when you look at yourself purely as an individual with some culture-created identities and see yourself as separate from the universe, you inherently develop ideas of differences, intolerance, and insecurity, where it becomes about me against them, which is the root cause of most of the negativity. Another example is when you try to separate yourself from the low states, like fear, boredom, or hatred, like irritation and anger, arising in the brain and body. You again live in fear and might end up living a whole life trying to run away from your mind's natural movements, using chemicals or other distractions to keep yourself from feeling them. Oneness and wholeness mean the same. When you perceive the oneness of everything, you inhabit in a sense of inner wholeness. Wholeness simply means you encompass everything in the space of your awareness, allow what arises, and are not in resistance to life. It's simply a state of being one with life. Whatever be the suffering you are going through right now, at the root of it is your resistance to life, arising from a thought of separation, where you either see yourself as being separate and isolated from life, or you are trying to disconnect from what's arising naturally in the moment. Without this resistance, you would not create so much negative momentum within you. Consider this example. When you worry about making money, basically worrying about your well-being, it's arising from a thought of separation where you feel that you are separate from life and hence have to embody your own struggle to fend for yourself. Worry of all kinds arises when you feel that you are separate from life, when you don't trust that life will take care of you. When you think you have to look after yourself, you are thinking from a perspective of separation, and it's unavoidable to feel terrible fear in the form of anxiety and insecurity. When you know that you are life, and that your physical form was born in the intention of life, you know that you will be taken care of by life. Your being can be free of fear, even if your brain, which is a survival machine, produces thoughts of fear. Oneness also means that the low states are as much an expression of life energy as the high states of physicality. When you try to cling to the high states and try to separate yourself from the low states, you end up in an imbalance and suffering. If you had no fear of allowing what arises, you would feel free in your being, which is what inner wholeness is all about. From this place of inner wholeness, you can fearlessly have specific focus in life, follow your specific creative expression, and manifest your specific desired realities, which are basically just a part of your natural expression. Don't see yourself as an isolated being. You, as this body, is born in the intention of the totality of life, and hence you have place in the scheme of things in the present reality of the universe. This basically means that your presence here is of value to life, and its intention to express and experience itself in a specific way. The use of language makes it seem as if there are two, you and life, but in truth there is no separation, and I'm just using words to point to this inherent oneness. So basically, you as the body is life expressing itself and experiencing physicality. Once you sense this oneness in your being, you will always feel as if you are isolated or disconnected from the wholeness of life, and this will cause you to feel fearful and insecure in your movements. None of this is philosophy. It is just a simple truth of life, which is very evident when you become aware of it. You can also see the various ways in which your mind creates suffering when it looks at this world from the perspective of separation. Some common negative thoughts that arise from the perspective of separation are as below. You feel upset about the success of others in your surroundings with feelings of jealousy and resentment because you don't sense that everything is inherently you as life energy in different forms. You become overpossessive of people in your life and try to create a narrow inner circle to feed a false sense of insecurity. You see yourself as superior or inferior to others, instead of realizing that everyone is basically a unique expression of one life, and all expressions have the same value for life as each enables it and unique expression. You look at life as a struggle where you are constantly battling it out, instead of realizing that if you simply align with your life stream, you will be one with the effortless flow of totality of life and live out your natural expression, allowing for a deep well-being in your experience. You are always worried about the future instead of realizing that you are a part of the totality of life and hence will always be taken care of in its movement. The truth is that the only time you need to worry about your future is when you take it upon yourself to struggle against the natural movement of your life stream, because in this place you are disconnected to a large extent for the guidance and well-being of your life stream. You are always thinking from a limited or narrow perspective without accounting for the bigger picture of life. You feel as if your mind, in its limited vision, has better understanding than life about what's good for you, rather than be trusting of life to bring you the right circumstances. That's why they say, life makes more sense backwards, because only later do you realize the hidden blessing in a situation that your mind thought was negative. These are just some example of how a mind rooted in a feeling of isolation or separation looks at life. The truth is, if a thought is creating suffering in you, at the bottom of it there is a belief of separation, where you are not accepting the oneness in all expressions. When you realize you are part of the totality, created by the totality of life, you have a sense of belongingness, a sense of being at home in life. And in this place, you don't have to worry about taking care of yourself, because life abundantly takes care of you.